Hello and welcome to a special programme here on the Holiday and Cruise channel. It's the Holiday and Cruise Clinic. I'm Phil Hilton, and today we're going to be looking at some of your special questions that you've written to us by the sackload about cruising and general holidaying. But first, if you still have a question for us, here's how to get in touch. Our website is www.holidayandcruisechannel.co.uk. Just click on Programmes, select the clinic page and submit your questions to us online through the website. If you want to email us directly, you can do that too, clinic@holidayandcruisechannel.co.uk, or you can write to us by post as well, to the Holiday and Cruise Channel, Cavendish House, Brighton Road, Liverpool, L22 5NG. Now let's have a look at some of our questions that you've been sending in to us, as I say, by the sackload. And with me, with very special responsibility for this question and answer session today, is our travel broadcaster, John Cooper. John, welcome along today.
Thanks so much, Phil.
A little bit of a different role for you today, but we're going to put you on the spot in a number of instances, aren't we?
I'll do my best.
Are you ready for that?
Yeah, I'll try.
Okay, well, let's get straight into the questions. Audrey from the Lakes, first of all, has simply asked us, how safe is cruising?
Cruising is as safe as it can be. How safe is it to cross the road? That's what I'd say. It's international standards, and everything really is down to the letter. When you go on board a ship, you suddenly realise safety is everyone's primary concern, and it's safe as flying, safe as going on a bus, safe as any form of transport you can come across.
Yes, it's nothing like not enough lifeboats, as has happened in times gone past.
Well, I think the Titanic taught a lot of people a lesson. That was 100 years ago. The thing is, the way things are today, health and safety, it's just the same the world over, and it's one of the safest forms of transport there is.
Yeah, and this applies to any cruise company. They all abide by the same conditions. It's not just particular ones, is it?
No, but if they sail certainly out of UK waters, or certainly European waters or American waters, they have to have legal standards before they'll even be allowed to leave the port. So yeah, they all abide to those guidelines.
Okay, thanks for that. Thanks for that question too, Audrey. Sheila Morehouse has written to ask, how do you know what's going on around the ship every day? Big itineraries sometimes these cruise ships have.
They do, and there's a great thing each day when you get back to your cabin or stateroom of an evening when you've enjoyed all the wonderful entertainment. There's usually a daily letter there already on, or a little paper on your bed ready for you, and it explains to you everything that's happening, all the entertainment, where it's happening, when it's happening, what time it's happening. That negates announcements every 10 minutes saying happening now on deck 4. You just don't get that. It's very much there it is. It's there if you want it, and no one's sitting there sort of pushing you along to come and take part in a volleyball or anything like that.
Yeah, I think it's right to say that the cruise companies, aren't they, generally are really keen for you to enjoy yourself as much as possible. They're not going to be shy about telling you what's going on, but they're going to do it in a subtle way, so as you say, you're not bombarded.
What they tend to do as well is at the end of each event or activity they'll say, and don't forget, if you're looking for something to do this afternoon, this is happening, that's happening, the other's happening. So therefore, as you go around the ship, if you take part in activities, you tend to find out what other activities are happening as well. But it's all done very subtly, and it's, as I always say, it's your holiday, and they wanted you to enjoy it your way.
Okay, Sheila, thanks very much indeed for that question. Good one to start us. Continue it going today. Barry from East London has asked about travel insurance, John. Do we need anything special for a cruise holiday? Do we need insurance at all for a cruise holiday?
Well, I would say you need holiday insurance. All the cruise lines virtually insist on it to travel with them, and basically it's because of things like medical insurance and things like that, and also if things go missing, you can lose your camera in middle Barcelona or something, so have it for that. But there's no real need for specialist insurance. But what I always suggest you do is, like with anything in life, individual needs vary. So I'd always consult the people you buy your insurance off, be that an insurance broker or whatever. And even if you get it, a lot of people get it free with the bank accounts now. Just check the wording on it, make sure it's right for what you're doing.
Yeah, that's something that we come across quite a lot on this programme, especially. Be prepared and find out as much about it, do as much research as possible before you take your holiday.
Well, I mean, an hour's research before can save hours and years of heartache afterwards. So, it's best make sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Make your holiday as easily and and relaxed as possible.
It is. I'd say a bit of research goes a long way.
All right, here's a good one from Kim from Devon, who's worked out from the itinerary of cruises that ships often dock at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's when you're visiting a port, presumably. She wants to know whether you have to get off at that time, which can mean an early start. She's obviously very keen on line-ins, Kim, isn't she?
Who isn't? Basically, when the ship gets into port, you do what you want. If you've got an excursion booked, they normally say meet at such and such a place at this time, and you go. But if you just want to stay on board, when I go on cruises, quite a few of the ports, I've worked in many places overseas, so I pull into a port and I've worked in this place for a few years, and I think, there's nothing I want to see here really. I just enjoy the sunshine on the deck, and usually you find you've got the ship to yourself. It's fantastic.
Well, yeah, I was going to say nothing to do with the fact that you have to get up and out at 8 o'clock then.
No.
Yes, okay. Moving on swiftly anyway, Lee from Liverpool wants to see the Rock. He's talking about Gibraltar rather than Blackpool, but wants to know if any cruise ships dock overnight in the lovely port of Gibraltar.
Not many do, and the reason for that really is, although it's a fantastic place at Gibraltar, I was there myself this summer, there's not a lot once you've done the tour of the Rock and you've walked up and down the main street, looked at the airport, there's not that really much to do, and unless you go then further into Spain, if you know what I mean, through the border. So therefore, most cruise ships do make it a one-day port of call. There are odd itineraries that may do it overnight, but the vast majority is certainly in places like Gibraltar will just do it for the day. When you get to other ports where there's a lot more to do and see, for instance like St. Petersburg in Russia, where you can't really do it in a day, they do overnight in places like that.
Okay, brilliant. On to Jane from Manchester now. Jane, thanks very much for your question. You're asking about fuel surcharges. You're on the move obviously a lot. What are they and who charges them?
Well, not all cruise lines charge them. Some do, some don't, and it depends what's happening. Basically, what happens is the cruise lines prepare their brochures more than 18, nearly 24 months in advance, and that's when they base the prices on. And if I said to you, how much is a gallon of petrol going to cost, or a litre of petrol going to cost in 24 months' time, you'd be a brave man to have a guess at that. So that's basically what they're trying to do. So therefore, what happens is when it gets to the actual time near the cruise, and if crude oil prices have gone up, they do have to make the charges. But they're normally between £3 and £6 a night, and they're never horrendous, really. But the cruise companies really hate doing it. They do. I mean, we've had conversations with them, and they hate doing it, but it's a commercial necessity, really.
Okay, Jane from Manchester, thanks very much for your question, and certainly something to bear in mind when you're booking your holiday. Okay, Pauline from Leeds, questions coming in thick and fast today, John, has booked a cruise for her and her husband with Royal Caribbean. She's asking whether they are allowed to take alcohol on board, or can they buy a drinks package on the cruise or before you go?
First of all, you can buy, with Royal Caribbean, with several cruise lines, you can buy a drinks package before you go, and it's a great way of doing it. It means that there's less worry and what have you. So I always like to plan my holidays like that as well, where I know what I've paid up front. They generally, with the vast majority of cruise lines, they don't allow you to take an alcohol on board. They do, for instance, for presents and what have you, to take home if you're in a port and you buy it. But what they'll do is they'll mind it for you, give it to you on the last night. And there is a reason for this. We were talking about safety earlier on, and the great thing is if they have a barman serving alcohol, they know when a person's reached the limits, and especially if it's sea and what have you. So therefore, it's a way of controlling that sort of thing. If people have got litres and litres of alcohol stored in the cabins, and the worst can happen.
Have you ever noticed, being a seasoned traveller, that if you have half a shandy on board a ship, it has a slightly different effect because of the natural movement of the ship as half a shandy on dry land?
No, it's never affected me at all, actually. Mainly because I don't drink half shandies. But
more of a cocktails man, I'm sure.
Yeah, it doesn't affect you any more than anything else. It's just that I think also a lot of people are worried about prices on board, and what you can do is check with the cruise lines before you go. Certain cruise lines, for instance, Fred Olsen, P&O, sort of thing, the prices you pay over the bar are very similar, and same with Thompson's as well, very similar to what you'd pay in a pub in the UK. So they're not extortionate at all, and that's not the reason that they do it. It really is just for the safety of the clients.
Yeah, I think one of the good things about it is there is the flexibility, isn't there, of either paying for everything before you go, paying for a little bit, taking some cash with you, doing it that way.
It is, it is a flexible way of doing it, and I say some people like to know what their prices are going to be up front, and if you want to buy a drinks package, and there's lots of companies that do it, like for instance Royal Caribbean or MSC, and well, there's a whole host of them to do it, and I say you can do that and you know where you stand.
Okay, well, we've got stacks of questions still to go through here, John, so stay there, because I want to talk to you about currency coming up in a few moments' time, and obviously having your holiday spends with you is very important, so we'll talk about that in a few moments' time. But we have two great little brochures here if you want an example for family cruising or holiday cruising. There we go. First time guide to cruise holidays, whether you're a solo traveller or whether you're planning on taking the family. There we go. If you'd like a copy, it's 0871 423 4444. Calls cost you 10p a minute from a BT landline. Calls from other mobiles and other networks may vary. You can have one or both, full of useful questions to give you an idea all about cruising. So stay there. We'll come back. Myself and John will be with you in a few moments' time. Hello there, welcome back to the Holiday and Cruise Clinic. We have a special programme today looking at some of your many questions that you've asked us and our holiday experts over the past couple of months. With me in the studio is John Cooper, seasoned travel correspondent and familiar face, of course, to viewers of the Holiday and Cruise channel. John, we're putting you on the spot a little bit on the programme today by firing some of the questions that many of you have sent in to us today. Let's talk about currency, because as I was saying just before the break, having your spends with you before you go on holiday, quite important, and making sure you've got as much to spend as you can budget for is very important. Currency. Ross Smith wants to know, in general, what currency does he need to take with him on his cruise with P&O Cruises? And Sean Jeffrey is also going on a cruise with Fred Olsen to the Amazon next year. Look at old Sean. What currency will he need to take with him?
Well, on board the ship, which you'll spend virtually most of your time on, obviously, it is all, in those instances, pound sterling. So you've got no currency worries at all. Some of the Royal Caribbean, for instance, it's American dollars, so therefore most people lodge a card, a credit card or a debit card, and pay it that way, so therefore you don't really have to worry too much about currency, because on board the ship it's a cashless society. You just put everything on a card, which you can either pay with cash at the end of the day if you want, or at the end of your cruise. It's entirely up to you. When you're calling into your ports of call, if you're going around Europe, for instance, like a couple £100 worth of euros, at the end of the day, what are you going to be buying? If you're going to be buying large gifts or things like that, I'd normally put them on a card anyway. But if you want to pay cash for them, budget for that with what you're going to get. But I'll say the euro is a great way to do it. To go into the Amazon, once again, I'd check where you're going and which port of call you're calling into, and make sure that you have a few pounds worth of each currency, because at the end of the day, all you're going to really want is a cup of coffee or a little trinket, maybe a bus ride somewhere or what have you, and that's all you need it for. Yeah, sure. I mean, 9 times out of 10 these days you can take your ATM card with you, can't you, and use them abroad. Exactly, and on board the ships as well, they do currency transactions. So if you only want to take £20–30 off the ship with you, you can do the transaction there and then on the ship. Do they have a cash point on the ship? Some of them do, yeah. but most of them, because it's a cashless society, you don't really need cash. But what they do is they have a foreign exchange desk where you can go and you can actually put it on your account, and you say, for instance, can I have $50 US, and they'll give you $50 US and put $50 US on your account that you pay at the end of your holiday. Okay, oh brilliant. Okay, let's move on to our next question. Thanks very much for all your questions, by the way. We'll be giving you details on how to send some more to us to keep our experts happy. Luke from southeast London wants to leave the kids at home and wants to know if there are any adults-only cruises with entertainment on board. Well, I would have thought that all have entertainment for a start. Well, they do all have entertainment, and there are a couple of cruise ships that are exclusively adult. P&O have 3 ships, like the Adonia and what have you, and they are always exclusively adult. And the entertainment is, for that sort of age group. A lot of the other cruise lines, what they tend to do is, on different itineraries, for instance, make it an all-adult cruise. And basically, if you avoid school holidays, you're virtually guaranteed there won't be that many children on board, because the way the authorities are these days, you really can't take children out of school that often. So the vast majority outside the school holidays have very few children on. Sure, and I think you'd agree that if you do have even just a few children on board, you can hide yourself away, can't you, John, to be out of the way. You can. They look after the kids absolutely fabulously. Now, I've been on holiday on a cruise with the kids, and you don't know they're there. It's great.
Okay, right. Jennifer from Hull, hello. Thanks very much indeed for your question today. Jennifer's considering a cruise that takes 4 stops in India. Now she's aware that she would need a visa, but wants to know exactly what she needs in terms of the visa, John, and the easiest way of obtaining it and the cost involved.
Well, the way India visa works is normally for most people they'll get what they call a 6-month visa. Now that visa lasts for 6 months, but it's valid from the date that you take it out. So don't get it if you're going on a cruise next September, for instance. Get your visa now because it'll have run out by the time you come to go on your holiday. Now, with an Indian visa, at the moment, it's about £66, £67, something like that for that 6-month visa. How to do it? Because there's different nationalities and what have you, and different regulations, I'd always consult who you've booked your cruise with, because there are specialist people who can actually do this for you, and they can rush you through, fill all the paperwork out for you. So all you have to do is, to pay them. It's usually about £10–15 extra to do it, but for the amount of paperwork, and especially if there's running trips down to London or Edinburgh or Glasgow, and for lots of the embassies, if you live in this postcode, you have to go to this embassy and what have you. So there's a lot of places like that will help you out, and wherever you book your cruise, they'll be able to help you with that information as well.
Yeah, so even your friendly high street travel agent then can help.
Anyone who you book your holiday with, yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you for that. Now, this is a regular question that we often get on the programme. Jason from Mansfield hasn't been on a cruise before, new to cruising, and is wondering what exactly is included in the price.
There's so much included in the price. It'd be quicker for me to tell you what to not. Yeah. Well, first of all, the food is included, and it depends from which cruise line to which cruise line, the extent of what's included, obviously. But basically all your food, your cabin, which tends to be very comfortable staterooms, and the price of the staterooms and cabins vary about where they are on the ship, and that's what they call cabin grades. So if you want to go on the inside, they're the cheapest. If you want to go on outside, have a window, they're the next most expensive. If you want to have a balcony, they're more expensive. If you want a penthouse suite, which some of them have, they're the most expensive. So it depends where about on the ship you go. But also included is all the entertainment, which is, it's subtly non-stop, if you know what I mean. So if you don't want to take part in it, you don't have to. But if you want to have, you can spend the most exhausting 2 weeks of your life on a cruise ship, or the most relaxing 2 weeks. There's usually shows involved every night, sometimes 2 or 3 shows, theme nights. There's lots of entertainment throughout the day. There's things that aren't included, like spa treatments, which you might want to have a massage or something like that. They're not included. And also some of the cruise lines, not all of them, but some of them have specialty restaurants, which do have a cover charge, but it's minute to what you pay to go into a restaurant, really. And the other things that you pay for, if it's not all, you haven't got drinks packages, your drinks to pay for, and the gratuities as well. And then excursions you want to pay to go on, they're there as well. But apart from that, virtually everything else is included in the price.
Yeah, just confirm with me that if you pay for a cheaper cabin, that doesn't exclude you from going anywhere on the ship, does it? In terms of the shows available and things like that, and the shows where people in the penthouse would also be going to. It's not off limits or anything, is it?
It is. Funny enough, I was on a cruise a few months back, and I was talking to a guy, and he says, "Do you know what? I paid." He was on an inside cabin bottom. He said, "I paid, a couple of £1,000 less than them up there. I'm getting exactly the same, except they've got a bigger bedroom than me." He said, "I spent no time in my bedroom. I sleep in my bedroom." Yeah. so that's how a lot of people look at it. Some people like to have a bit more space to themselves.
Okay, well, I hope that's given you an idea, Jason, of what's included in the price. Nikki from Mansfield as well is also preparing for her first cruise this year and wondering if there's any way of finding out about show excursions and the cost involved ahead of the cruise, John. Nikki's also asking about the entertainment on board the ships, and she's travelling on the Thompson Dream. Very nice too.
Well, the Thompson Dream, there's a lot of the entertainment was on the Sky One showstoppers a few months back. I've got some friends actually who work on the Thompson ships, and the entertainment is really first class on the Thompson ships. There's shows every single night, different shows, no matter how long you're on the cruise for. It's a different cruise, different show every night. Shore excursions, well, basically what happens is shortly after you booked your holiday, about a month or so before you go, we send you full details of them. All the cruise lines send you full details of the excursions, what's available at each different port, and how much they cost. Now, you can choose to pre-book them before you go. You can book them on board, or if you want, what it gives you a great opportunity to do is have a look and see where the tours go and see, what can I do? Do I have to go on the tour to do that, or can I just do that myself? Is there a hop-on, hop-off tour, bus tour available in the port? You know, that sort of thing. So it gives you great idea, great guide to what to do as well. But that's all sent to you about a month before you travel, 2 months before you travel, so you can make all those decisions then.
Absolutely. Well, Jason and Nikki, what you do need, and everybody else who's new to cruising, is of course our guide. Here it is, First Time Guide to Cruise Holidays. If you want a copy to tell you all about some of the questions that we've been talking about on the programme today, and a few others that we haven't thought of as well, 0871 423 4444. Calls will cost you 10p a minute from a BT landline. Calls from other networks and mobiles may vary. Right, John, in the time we have, let's rattle through a couple more questions. Jennifer from Hull has been on a few cruises with the likes of Island Cruises, Ocean Village and Thompson. They've been all-inclusive, but she's now looking at sailing with Royal Caribbean, but isn't too sure about the gratuities. Come on, tipping. Give us the inside story.
With Royal Caribbean, you can actually prepay them. So that's a great idea, and what it means is you know where you are before you go. Each cruise line do charge gratuities, and basically the way I look at it is when you go and have a fine dining experience and you're totting up your bill at the end of the night, would you leave a tip? And you know, the fine dining experiences that you have on these ships, you know, I would leave a tip because you know, you've had a fine dining experience.
Yeah.
And that's about how much the tips are. It varies from ship to ship, but you know, to pay £4 or £5 a day, you know, as a tip, and because it's a cashless society, it's not. If you're going around and you're buying a couple of drinks and you'd say, you know, have a drink yourself, or you know, leave a tip for the waiter and all that sort of thing, because it's a cashless society, you can't do that. So I think over the period of a day, trips to the bar, eating out, tips and things like that, you'd probably leave that anyway, if not probably more.
All right, John, well, thanks very much indeed for answering some of our questions. We weren't able to get through to everybody's question today, but thank you very much for sending them in, and do keep sending them in to us. And our guides as well. Don't forget, if you are taking your family abroad on a cruise, or even from the UK as well, or you're going for the first time, don't forget our guides are very useful. And don't forget, as I say, keep your questions coming in. Here come the details now. You can send in a question through our website, www.holidayandcruisechannel.co.uk. Click on Programmes, select the clinic page and submit your questions to us online there. You can email us directly to clinic@holidayandcruisechannel.co.uk, or you can write to us by traditional methods through the post as well. Holiday and Cruise Channel, Cavendish House, Brighton Road, Liverpool, L22 5NG. That's it. That's all we've got time for on this special programme. Stay with us on the Holiday and Cruise Channel for more special programmes where we'll run through your questions and answers. Till then, thank you very much indeed to John, and we'll see you again soon. Goodbye.